Another story that I remember is about a great wreck that occurred at Duck Hill. A train with several carloads of Confederate soldiers, one flat car with temporary seats on it, was struck by another train moving in the opposite direction at a point just south of town at Duck Hill, and 34 of those Confederate soldiers were killed. And just last August I went down there, and they had the dedication of a small cemetery down there, and a group in Jackson, Mississippi, one of these reenactment groups, had gotten busy. They were professional young fellows in Jackson, Mississippi, and they had found the names of every one of those soldiers that were killed except 2, and they had their names on markers out there. The Veterans Administration had given them markers to put, and so you got all these markers out there. But that was one of many, many wrecks that occurred back in those days. Wrecks could be very bad things on the railroad. So you had quite a number of them during the Civil War. There, of course, were many, many daring escapades and escapes and entrapments during the Civil War. I read one time, and I don't know where it is now, but there was a bunch of Confederates trapped up here at Abbeville, and they couldn't get an engineer, couldn't get a crew to go from here up there to get them. But somebody came up with the idea of getting some refreshments, you know, from one of the local distillers, and after they'd had a little party and everybody's bravery was re-enhanced, a certain engineer, I won't call his name because he and his brother had a long career of this railroad, he took the train, went to Abbeville, rescued the stranded unit of the Confederate Army and brought it back to Water Valley because his courage had been restored by this White Lightning whiskey or something to that effect. I don't remember where it was, but it's unimportant. But the railroad played a great part in the conduct of the war. And as I indicated, we after the war we rebuilt the railroad, rebuilt all the stations. Our little Water Valley Depot remained a one-story building well up into the 1880s, I'm sure. Now, there was no shop here at that time. Looking forward to the days when railroad was the shop town on this division. There was no shop here. Everything was at Holly Springs. Well, after the war, when the rebuilding of this railroad takes place, the shop facilities, what little they've got left in Holly Springs, is brought here in 1866. There are a few machines at places like Grenada. They were brought here. So, and by the action of the board of directors of this railroad, at the first meeting after the Civil War, after the end of the war, it was determined that the shop would be at Water Valley. So 1866 and 67 are busy years in our town. Not only is the headquarters of the railroad, the Mississippi Central Railroad from Jackson, Tennessee to Canton, headquarters is established here. The shop is also moved here on 35 acres of land right up in the north end of, well, in the central part of town. A group of local entrepreneurs got together a 35-acre tract of land and says to the railroad company, here's land and here's some of the finest, cleanest water in the South right here on top of the ground. Won't you come put your railroad here? And so they did.